She works as a maid to the family that this story is about. And this is a story of how she came there. And let me know if I'm not loud enough. When Martha dreams, she is back in Cuba. In some of the dreams, she's a young child, sitting at the table with her parents, eating a plate of yuca, rice, black beans, and fried plátano. In other dreams, she's a grown woman, sitting in a cafeteria called La Esmeralda with Humberto. Always, when she visits Cuba in her dreams, she is happy. It is only when she is awake that Cuba becomes the enemy. Martha's understanding of and interest in politics is limited. As far as she is concerned, a good leader is one whose enemy is her enemy, and though she loves Ismael like a brother and a savior, she still thinks he's crazy to have fought against El Colonel, who will not only oppose the communist leader of Cuba, but gave Maria Leonza the recognition she deserved, raising her status to that of a national symbol. Wasn't it true that his government was blessed by the goddess, that people were safe in their own houses and on the streets? These days, no one can walk in a public place without fear of attacks, or park a car in front of a restaurant without wondering whether it will still be there by the time the meal is over. El Colonel, he had been a real presidente, not like this one, who behaves like the primogenito of the island tyrant, constantly running there like a propio payaso clown to ask his advice and imparting his vile ideas to the mainland. No wonder the statue of Maria Leonza has broken in two. Martha was one of the first of an estimated 70,000 Cubans who migrated to Venezuela during the revolution. Why she left her home and her dashing revolutionary husband of only 2 years, Humberto Galano, never to return is a question she has been asked by employers, friends, acquaintances, and even total strangers. Over the years, her answer has evolved. At first, it was because Humberto was involved so deeply with the revolution that it put their lives in danger. He insisted that it was best and safest for her to remain in exile until Cuba was free, which, he said confidently, was only a matter of a couple of years at most. Then it was because once every 2 years, when Humberto came to visit her in her adopted country, he left her pregnant, and she was either pregnant or nursing whenever the opportunity to return arose. Then it was because of the children, because of financial security, for in the early years, one thing was clear. She and Humberto could not support their growing family in Cuba under the crushing economic conditions that prevailed. Then it was because of democracy. It was better, Humberto said, to wait until elections were held and a democratic government was in place as promised. Finally, it was because her husband was dead. Most recently, Martha has taken to saying that it's not a question of why she left Cuba, but why she will never return. Then, relishing the expectancy in the eyes of her interrogators, especially if they are pro-revolution, as so many are these days, she says, because she can never bring herself to say the name, finds it more expedient to sacrifice others for the revolution than to die for it himself. She says the last word as if it should be accompanied by spit. No, she cannot return, she says, because the only way to return is with a sharpened machete for cutting a smile into his thick neck. And then her children would lose a mother, as well as a father, before it was time. Though she is seething with rage over the present, Martha often remembers her childhood with longing. Do you suffer from terminal nostalgia? You were dirt poor, it couldn't have been that great, her daughter Luz snapped once, as though she were jealous of it, this period in her mother's life when she did not exist. It is true that Martha prefers the past to the present. Her family had been poor, but they had been happy. It had been another time, another place. But when you have perfection, the gods remind you what it is not to have it. Now she is rich, or at least her daughter is, which amounts to the same. But neither is happy.